In any relationship, the words we use are really just the tip of the iceberg. Simple, everyday phrases can carry so much hidden meaning. So today, we're going to decode some of that secret language of relationships, those phrases that can define a future, end an argument, or express a whole world of affection.
It all starts with something like this. Your phone buzzes, you glance down and see this message, and boom, your heart just sinks into your stomach. 4 little words that can trigger more anxiety than almost anything else. So why is that? It's because we instinctively know this phrase breaks the normal, casual flow of conversation. It's almost never just a simple question. So let's just dive right into what might be the 4 most dangerous words in a relationship. This phrase isn't really an invitation, it's more like a summons. And let's be real here. Nobody says, "Can we talk?" to ask about your new haircut or what you want for dinner. This is the official kickoff for a serious and often really difficult conversation. It creates this formal pause in the normal rhythm of life. So if you hear this, you better buckle up because something important is about to go down and it might not be good news. Okay, next up, let's get into how it's not always what you say, but how you say it. We're gonna look at a phrase where just a tiny little shift in your tone completely flips the meaning on its head. First, listen to this. "You know what I mean." Said like that as a statement, it's firm. It's almost an accusation. It implies that the other person already knows the unspoken reason for something. The speaker is basically saying, "I shouldn't have to explain this to you because you already get it."
But now, listen to how different the exact same words sound when I ask it as a question. You know what I mean? See? Suddenly, it's not an accusation at all. It's a plea for connection. It's asking for confirmation, making sure you're both on the same page. Same words, 2 totally different worlds of meaning, all decided by your tone of voice. All right, next up, we're wading into the deep end of relationship vocabulary. This is a distinction that causes a ton of confusion, but is absolutely critical to understand. The tiny, but absolutely massive difference between loving someone and being in love with them. So to love someone is this broad, powerful feeling. You love your parents, you love your best friend, but to be in love with someone, well, that's exclusively romantic. It's that deep, passionate, all-consuming feeling you have for a partner. So when someone drops the line, "I love you, but I'm not in love with you," this is the heartbreaking distinction they're making. Now let's look at how couples try to navigate the future. When things start getting serious, a whole new set of phrases enters the picture. Phrases that are really all about figuring out where things are headed. This is the big one. Asking, "Where is this relationship going?" is the classic way to kick off the talk. It's a direct request to define the future. Are we heading towards marriage? Are we just having fun here? Or is this headed for a breakup? It forces both people to put their cards on the table. And here's another incredibly versatile one. Maybe it's time we. It's a softer way to bring up a major life change. And wow, it can lead to some wildly different places. It could be the gentle lead-in to a breakup, a suggestion to start a family, or, just a simple way to say a party's over and it's time to leave. It's a really powerful conversation starter. And just like there are phrases for the future, we have ways to summarize the past. Saying "we've had our laughs" is a sweet, nostalgic way to remember the good times. "We've had our ups and downs" is a more honest summary, acknowledging the reality of any long-term relationship. "We've had our issues" points directly to problems, while "we've had our moments" is this beautiful, kind of ambiguous phrase that highlights those special, unforgettable times, whether they were good or bad. Okay, after all that serious talk, let's end on a lighter note, shall we? Let's talk about pet names, those affectionate nicknames couples use that can range from totally adorable to downright strange. First things first, just so we're all on the same page, a pet name in this context is not what you call your dog or your cat. It's a term of endearment, a special name that you reserve just for your romantic partner. In English, you hear a lot of these. You've got the classics, honey, baby, and sweetheart. But then you get into the more creative territory. Things like sweetie pie, honey bunny, or even Pooh Bear. They might sound a little cheesy to an outsider, but they're a universal sign of affection. Now this is where it gets really interesting, when you look at how these pet names change across cultures. Because if you translate them literally, they can sound, well, pretty bizarre. In Spanish, a common term of endearment is gordi, which literally means fat. And in French, you might call your beloved ma puce, which means my flea. Seriously,
It's a perfect example of how the emotional meaning of a word can be completely separate from its literal one. So, what's the big takeaway here? When it comes to relationships, a word is never just a word. It's all wrapped up in context, it's delivered with a specific tone, and it's built on a shared history between two people. That's what gives language its real power and all of its complexity. And that leaves us with a final thought for you. Think about your own language for a second. What's a common phrase, a pet name, or an expression of love that sounds completely strange if you try to translate it literally into English? It really makes you appreciate just how much meaning is packed into the words we use every single day.